first channel on all of YouTube of Different Games 420. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Figuarts Super Saiyan Son Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan Exclusive Edition. Or as most people call this, the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and Ghost Goku Exclusive. These guys came out originally as SDCC exclusives last year at a retail price of $90 and were later re-released on Premium Bandai. I know a lot of people were kind of pissed off about the retail price, and to a degree I can sort of see why, but I think for fairly obvious reasons the $90 price point is justified. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So without any more bullshit, let's just shut up, take a look at the box, and get this shit show on the road. So other than the sheer girth of the thing, because it's housing 2 characters, the box is pretty much what you've come to expect out of exclusive Figuarts figures these days. Yeah, a line trace picture of Goku and Gohan in purple on the front, all the usual logos and shit, designed by Tamashii Nations in Japan, Bandai Spirits made in Vietnam. Their names on the window, Gohan, and a very, very clear view of Goku, if I must say. Then up top you have S.H.Figuarts as a standard action figure series that uses the art style and technology of Tamashii Nations to pursue character expression through humanoid action. In the back you have some pictures of Gohan, and a handful of him with Goku, and then you also have the usual blurbs and shit, the Namco sticker. And on one side of the box you have their names, as well as a picture of the two of them, and the Figuarts Dragon Ball Z logos. On the other side you have a promo image of the two, as well as the Figuarts logo and their names again. And on the bottom you have Figuarts Super Saiyan Son Goku, Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan Exclusive Edition, and some pictures of them. And that does it for the box, so let's get 2 of them out of the box. Since he's the more unique sculpt of the two, and I'll probably have a little more to say about him as a result, we'll be taking a look at Gohan first, and then looking at Goku, and we'll be starting where all these other shit shows do, with the comparisons. So here Gohan is standing next to a return to late 2015, early 2016, and a midget, Giga Chad and Mr. Beast, the new morbidly obese Pepto-Bismol mascot, and oh my god guys, it's the original Goku Black, for real, no cap, skibbity Ohio, Riz, God, Phantom Tax. Please fucking kill me. And lastly, the only comparison that wasn't a massive waste of your time, here Gohan is standing next to his original counterpart, and I'm just gonna say it off the bat, the exclusive blows the original out of the water. Yes, the exclusive still suffers from the engineering problems the original one had, we'll get to that in a moment, but just looking at these two next to each other, the colors are much better on the exclusive. He's much more vibrant. He has scratches and battle damage, which I know doesn't really tie to the colors, but I mean, fuck it. The original didn't have that, so I may as well give him a point there. Really, the only thing I will give the original over the exclusive is the hair color, but even still, that is a really easy fix. But I suppose that is enough for the comparisons, so let's move on, shall we? So now that we're talking about the paint and sculpt on Gohan here, I think I'm just gonna further rub in just how much better this particular version is by just getting the only real issue that I have with the aesthetics out of the way first, and that is the hair. I think if they would have just done something like what they did with Super Saiyan 2 Goku, it would have been fine, where it was just an opaque plastic with a metal sheen to it. I think that would have looked fine, but this just doesn't look too good, in my honest opinion. You can see that it's a sort of transparent plastic with a metallic finish to it, and I just don't care for the color they went with at all. If it was a little closer to what they had for the eyebrows, it might have looked better, but in all honesty, it looks like shit. This just doesn't look particularly good at all. Otherwise, he looks really nice. He's got scratches on his face and on his chest. Unfortunately, nothing on the back. The purple is a nice deep purple contrast with the bright color of his skin, and the skin itself is actually painted properly this time. It's still a little sloppy around the edges, but the skin that is painted is actually painted properly this time, and there's not as much of a mismatch between his chest and his abs this time around. And to once again further in just how much of an improvement this is over the original, here's the original. Personally, I think the hair on the original is better. Otherwise, you can pretty clearly see that the original is inferior to the exclusive. So yeah, now that we've gotten further shitting on the original out of the way, let's move into the accessories. As far as what you get with Gohan, you get 3 faces: the gritted teeth face, a looking to the side yelling face, and a looking forward extremely angry yelling face. The looking forward yelling face is a retool of the closed eyes screaming face from the original. On that one, it's obviously supposed to be recreating the scene where Gohan turns Super Saiyan 2 for the first time. This time it's supposed to be when he's releasing all of his energy against Cell. And it gets the idea across, but I have to be honest, it looks kind of weird. Namely, I think one of his eyes is fucked up, but I'm looking at it outside of my camera's perspective, and yeah, it looks pretty fucked up. Like, one of the eyes just looks completely different to the other. But as was the case with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, it's better to have one face that's the worst out of a bunch of good or improved faces, rather than just be a good one in a batch full of shit. And that was kind of how it was with the original. There was like 1 or 2 faces on that one that were actually good, and the rest were just shit. In terms of the hands, you basically get the same array as the original: the open palm ki blast, Kamehameha, and relaxed hands, plus a bonus pair of hands for the Kamehameha effect with a peg in them. And they're good, but they don't match with the other hands at all. You can clearly see the original Kamehameha hands use a much softer sculpt, where the new ones have much more detail in the hands. You can see the little tendons, I guess you could call them. You can see the anatomy a little better in the new hands, and they do not match with the old ones very well. Is it a big deal? No, but it is pretty noticeable when you actually do notice it. Other than that, and the Kamehameha being just a dick to put together, Gohan's accessories are perfectly fine. So with all that out of the way, let's get into his articulation. So like I said, the engineering flaws with the original Gohan still rear their ugly head for this particular version. The head can look up just fine, look down, side to side, tilt side to side, no problem. Full 360 out of the shoulder and can go up that far. Bicep swivel, double joint at the elbow, wrist pivot and swivel. For some reason, on both versions of this Gohan, the lower wrist can't move, so don't try to move it. It will snap off on you if you try. The upper chest joint is very restricted and can't move for shit, but the lower waist can move fine for the most part. You do get a little bit of side to side. It's not the greatest range in the world, but it goes side to side out of the lower waist. Pretty alright splits. Full front to back kicks are entirely possible with this particular mold. Pretty decent thigh swivel. Joint at the knee. One side does move slightly farther than the other, so that's one thing to note. And then the ankles are completely worthless. You can't pivot them inwards for shit, barely go up or down, but they rotate. And you get a toe crunch. Like I said, it's pretty much tit for tat, same as the original. So let's move on to Goku then. Here Goku is out of the box. Really the only comparison that I felt was necessary for him was standing him with full power Goku, so here that is. And I'm not gonna waste your time here. If you're not blind, you can pretty quickly tell the difference between Ghost Goku and the standard full power version. So rather than waste your time, I'll just let you see the two of them standing next to each other. So with that out of the way, let's move into Goku's aesthetics, I guess. As far as aesthetics are concerned, for Ghost Goku, the sculpt is exactly the same as full power Goku. So if you've already seen that or any other 2.0 Goku, you know what to expect at this point. But the main selling point here is the fact that this is a mostly transparent figure. And for the first time that Tamashii has tried to do something like this for the Dragon Ball line, I think it turned out alright. It certainly isn't perfect, but gets the point across and looks exactly like what you'd expect. The blues they went with are nice. They look about like what they did in the show. I don't remember it 100%, but he was on screen for all of maybe a couple of seconds, so yeah, really not much to talk about here. What is here looks nice. It's a little inconsistent in places. You can see the legs are noticeably brighter than the rest of his body. The sleeves are slightly brighter than his chest. And there are 3 different tones going from his collarbone to his neck and his head. But if you have him on a shelf and you aren't a complete spurg like me, you aren't going to notice. So really it's just a bunch of me nitpicking the figure. That out of the way, let's quickly run through Goku's accessories. Here's everything that Goku has out of the box, and it's almost identical to what you get with full power Goku. You get 2 faces that aren't attached to him out of the box, the gritted teeth and yelling faces, as well as 4 additional pairs of hands, open palm ki blast, kamehameha, martial arts stance, and instantaneous movement, making this the 5th Goku to have a pair of instantaneous movement hands. So there's not a lot I can say here. Really the only thing that I can bitch about here is the fact the eyes are a little too round for my liking, but otherwise it's fine. So for basically every other owner of the original full power Goku who wasn't a total hipster, will be happy to know that they did actually fix a couple things here, namely that plastic doesn't feel like shit like it did on the original, and the articulation actually functions a little better on this figure. Head looks up about that far but can go down only a certain amount before the face starts to fall off. A little bit of tilt out of the neck. Full 360 out of the shoulder, can go up that far if you don't want to break the sculpt, that high if you don't give a fuck. Full 360 out of the bicep, double joint at the elbow, wrist pivot and swivel, but the joint does feel a little frail, so do be careful. Waist can go that far forward, that far back, it's a little bit of side to side, and can rotate a little more smoothly this time around, but is still restricted by the belt. So full front to back split at the thighs, can go out about that far, and you'll be happy to know that they are not loose like superhero or full power Goku were. Double joint at the knee, still feels a little gummy, but it isn't as bad as the original. Side to side out of the ankle, can go that far down, that far up, that far in, that far out. Toe hinge that goes up that far and can go down about that far for some reason. So overall, it's pretty basic 2.0 Goku articulation with some of the tweaks that full power Goku made. So with all that out of the way, let's finish this one off. So at the end of the day, this is a pretty alright set. It isn't perfect, and that's mostly just because the original figures this set was based off of weren't particularly amazing. The Gohan in particular was pretty shitty originally, but I honestly think the improvements made to Gohan and the fact these two totaled would cost $90 if you were to buy them at retail price. It's steep, but ultimately I don't think it's the worst these two could have cost, especially given the fact that these figures are not getting any cheaper. Ultimately, I think for this being the very first 2 set, at least on a technicality, and the very first time they've made a fully transparent figure in the Dragon Ball line, I think this is pretty good overall. You get a pretty decent array of accessories across both Gohan and Goku, and on a shelf these two will look really nice. So if you're a big Gohan fan, then yes, I would absolutely recommend this set, and if you can find them for a reasonable price, then I'd say go for it. But this has been Different Games 420, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm on stage, it's all